Welcome to Shit's Getting Real with Sax, where we strip back the filters and get raw about life, money, emotions, and business. This is your safe space for unfiltered conversations, the kind that make you feel seen, understood, and deeply connected to something bigger. No bullshit, no pretending, just real stories, deep truths, and the occasional existential crisis. Because life, it's messy, it's magical, and it's meant to be truly felt.
We cannot avoid a crash out. That is going to happen no matter what you do in life. If you are a human being and you're experiencing change every single day, and even if you think you're not experiencing change, you are, babe, because every 7 years you have a completely different body with completely different cells. So if your cells are physically changing every single day, then you are also changing every single day. And that can feel very overwhelming at times. That is human. That is the cycle of evolution. That is the cycle of raising your vibration and being a better human. That is actually what we're here on earth to do. We're here to change, we're here to grow, and we're here to learn. And the only way that we can actually rise and rise and rise and rise is when we accept the shit parts and we bring those motherfuckers into the lightness that sits within our soul. Hello, my party people, and welcome back to another episode of Shit's Getting Real with Sax. I am excited to have you here. I am excited to hopefully help you move through crash out season. And I'm also just feeling funky, feeling fire, feeling fine, feeling jazzy with it. So I hope that you have been having a fabulous week. I hope that you have been doing all of the things that you need to do to move into the new moon season and the full moon that is coming. And I love you. So today I want to talk to you guys about crashing out to crash forward, I suppose, or the power of the crash out. Because this is something that I actually learned a couple of years ago when I was first learning about our own individual value systems and our own individual values and how they differ between each other. And one of the processes that I did to learn this on a subconscious level was going through what is most important to you about life and just listing all of the different things. And then also, if you had all of that, what would have to happen to make you want to leave life? And then on top of that, if all of that were to happen and the other thing that would make you leave happened, what would have to happen to make you stay? And going through this process, which honestly you can do by yourself. Like if you are listening and you have absolutely no idea about your life values and how values sit inside of your world right now, I would highly recommend that you sit down with a piece of paper and actually just ask yourself, what do I value about life? And just write. Whatever word comes up in your head, just write. And then ask yourself again, what do I value about life? And ask yourself about 5 to 6 times at least to really get deep into what are your actual core values, because you'll begin to see trends in the way that the words are. And also, so you can start grouping words together. Or you also will realize that there's so many things that maybe you didn't consciously think that you cared about and that you are not living in your day-to-day life right now, but that are actually important to your unconscious level for life. And so how can you create more ritual around them? How can you create more gratitude around them? How can you get those different values that you're not utilizing, but that you do really value about life, and actually incorporate them into your day-to-day life? Because living out your own personal values will give you way more satisfaction, will give you way more fulfillment, and will bring you so much more peace, because you're actually working in alignment with your soul's goals and with your soul's purpose, rather than being like, I just want to make money. I'm here to make money. I'm here to make money. I'm here to make money. But money may not even be in your value system right now. Where you're at in your life, your value might actually be on connection and spending time with your friends. And yes, you can do that and make money at the same time. However, if it came down to which one is actually more important to you, if you're continuously consciously telling yourself money is more important, and choosing to chase the money over valuing the friendship connection that you're having at this point in time, you're not going to be fulfilled by the money. It's never going to fulfill you because it's not within your value, right? And so learning your values and getting to know your own values really is another key to knowing yourself and knowing whether something is going to be a full body yes or a full body no. And also just helping you prioritize where you're at. Because for me, I love my family so much. However, family time is not a massive, it's not a high value for me. And when I saw that on a piece of paper and I could witness that, it gave me such a deeper sense of acceptance, because previous to that, I was just thinking, I'm the worst daughter in the world. I'm the worst sister in the world. I'm just a horrible human being, obviously, because everybody around me has such this massive thing about family time. And I just don't really mind. I would rather be putting my effort into my business. I would rather be putting my effort into making money. I would rather be putting the effort into traveling the world. All of those things were really high values for me, because they're based on where I'm at in my life right now. I know by the time I have my own children, family time and having that family value will probably be at the top of my list, because my whole lifestyle is different at that point in time. So your values do change, and your values do help you a lot in how you see yourself, how you see the world, and realizing too that if you value something, it doesn't mean that everybody values the same thing. So the deeper that you consciously process through your own information, whether it's astrology, whether it's values, whether it's human design, whether it's numerology, whether it's light language, whatever it is for you, that is the piece of how you're exploring yourself right now. The more that you can make sense of yourself without limiting yourself to the refinements of the structure that you're looking at. So, for example, with astrology, I am a Cancer, but I don't think that that is everything that I am. I still have a lot of different traits of a lot of different things, because I'm not allowing that Cancer label to put me in that box of this is who I am and this is it. Yes, I identify with so many of the traits of a Cancerian. And yes, I feel really connected to Cancerian. However, no, it doesn't limit me. It actually expands me, because it brings me peace and it brings me fulfillment to know that I trust in myself and I trust in my belief and I trust in my intuition, which is a Cancerian trait. But anyway, knowing these things without putting yourself into a box actually allows you, when you let it to, it allows you to start accepting and being able to be there and love other people where they're at. Yes, it's still super frustrating. Yes, it still can drive you crazy when people do shit that you're like, bruh, I would never fucking do that. Why did you do that? but it's about accepting that these are my values and this is what I am passionate about or I highly value in my life. Obviously, my values are not the same as yours because I wouldn't do that behavior. But I can still see the love because you're still working in alignment with your values. And that is still a piece of self-love. And so you get to have this acceptance of, I'm going to follow my values because it's important to me. And I have to accept that everybody else is doing the same thing. They are doing their life as according to their own unconscious values. It's as simple as that. More peace, more satisfaction, less anger, less frustration. Like, let's all just realize that what we're doing is the same thing that every other person in this life is doing. They are just figuring this shit out. They're just figuring it out. And they're figuring it out for themselves because two people could have the exact same journey and end up on two completely different planes because they're two different people. So realizing that the deeper that you know yourself, the deeper you actually accept the knowing within other people, even when they don't know it for themselves yet. And it's a much, much, much more peaceful place to be in. But anyways, I am getting so off track. Ahaha. Who would have thought? Literally every single episode, I feel I go on rants about the most ridiculous things, but they do have context. I really hope so. Anyways, back to crashing out. When I was learning about values, that particular question that says what would have to happen if you had all of these things, what would have to happen for you to want to leave? Right? That question right there changed the whole fucking game. Because all of a sudden, you have this experience that you would deem as negative, right? Something like death, like losing it all, like, God, so many different things. There's so many different things that would make a person feel that way, right? However, that in itself is also a value of yours. That negative experience, grief, loss, sadness, pain, anger, fear, disgust, guilt, all of those negative emotions that are associated with that thing that would make you want to leave is actually just as valuable to you because it's the sign that your body sends to you that things are about to fucking change. And so these crash out moments that we have in life are actually our body giving us the answer of what it is that we need to change now. What it is, where is this motivation coming from? You know? Because you can be working on a project for 300 years and not finish it because you just don't really care. But all of a sudden, you have one crash out on one random Thursday where you're like, fuck this shit. My whole life is a mess. I'm a mess. Everyone's a mess. I'm not a good person. I'm a horrible person. I never do good things. Everything sucks. The world is ending. It's all going down and I just don't want to be here right now. What would have to happen for you to feel like you don't want to be here? All of those things are actually the thing that then becomes the fuel. How often do you have a crash out and then all of a sudden clean your entire freaking space? It'll be 2 a.m. in the morning and you'll be like, I'm doing a complete rebrand. I want new clothes. I want new makeup. I want to look completely different. I want to rearrange my bedroom. I want new energy, different vibe. We're changing the game. The crash out actually is the answer because allowing yourself to get to a point where you are just giving attention to all of the shit feelings that you're having and all of the horrible things that you're experiencing, whether it be the things that you're telling yourself, the things that you're actually experiencing, like whatever it is. When you actually allow yourself to go there in the privacy of your own space. Let me preface this. I am not talking about the crash outs where we're going to go and smash up windows and do crazy things and scratch people's cars and blow out their tires and all of that stuff. Hilarious. I'm here for women's rights and women's wrongs. I think that stuff is funny. Don't get me wrong. Sorry, I think it's funny. I think it's very funny when people behave like that, because I could never. But I'm so glad that some people do, because it's comedic. It's so funny. It's so funny. But that's not the crash out that I'm actually talking about. I'm talking about the emotional crash out. I'm talking about the spiral of thoughts. I'm talking about those moments in time where you just open the floodgates and you just let all of the feelings actually come through. Because those feelings and those messages, they are all there for the sake of helping you get rid of what no longer suits you, so that you can up level to the next iteration of yourself. If you had all of these things that you value in life, what would happen to make you leave? If everything you had and that thing happened, what would happen to make you stay? Me. I would happen. Because whatever answer you actually have in that moment is going to be something that is an action for you. So the process of actually crashing out so you can figure out what it is that you need to work on, what it is that you're allowing yourself to be overwhelmed about, letting yourself actually experience, okay, I'm having all of these thoughts of lack. So I know that in order to up level, I need to work on that. I really need to work on that. I need to address the thoughts. I need to address what's going on. I need to let the crash out actually happen so that I can move forward with a clearer space, and I can move forward knowing that I've actually released it from myself, you know? You also have internal and external motivators in life. And the internal motivator is the person who, like I said, has the crash out and is like, fuck this shit. I'm rearranging my whole ass wardrobe right this second because I'm not allowing myself to feel this way. Ain't no way. I'm rearranging everything, right? Or you may have the external motivators who they want the praise. They want the seenness of doing the thing. You get the same result either kind of way. You also have a motivator that you work towards and the motivator that you run away from. And I think this is the massive part of that crash outness, is like once you hit that level of crashing out, you have both motivations to get out of the crash out. So you want to put the crash out behind you and you want to move forward because you don't want to fucking go back there. You don't want to deal with that shit anymore. You're done feeling like that. You're done feeling the way that the crash out's making you feel. And so you're running away from that feeling. But at the same time, the crash out is actually showing you what it is that you want to be moving towards. And so you get that internal motivation to actually move towards what it is that you want to work on, which is your value. Whatever is your highest value will be what you want to work on, right? What you want to incorporate into your life, what you want to be all about up in there. So when you feel it coming, just let it happen. Let the thoughts flood in. Let it happen the way it needs to happen. Because not only are you allowing an emotional release, you're also allowing yourself to get more aligned with yourself each time. It is well worth it. Even recently, I was literally filming a podcast a couple of weeks ago And I stopped filming halfway through because I was like, nobody wants to hear this. This is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking for the sake of talking. Rah, 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 rah. Like, this is stupid. This is not what I want to be. And then I filmed the actual crash out of me crying and explaining what it was that was going through my head and how it made me feel. And throughout the experience of actually just voicing everything that was happening to me and everything that I was thinking about and going through and processing, I got to the end and realized that I actually was just being a little bit hard on myself. And I felt like I had no direction with it because it had no structure, because I hadn't been doing it in a structured way. I kept saying, oh, I'm going to do this, and then not doing it. So I wasn't actually following through on my value, which caused me to crash the fuck out. And obviously there was a lot of hormonal things that went into that and all the rest of it as well. But since then, I got to the point of being like, okay, well, now I know that I'm not going to film things when I'm ovulating because it doesn't feel nice for me. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like the version of myself that I actually want to be putting across on this platform and in this way. So I got to have that value of authenticity shown back to me through the crash out of feeling like it was inauthentic or nobody cared. Nobody cared because I wasn't in my body. And to be honest, people would care about it if I posted it. It's just that I wasn't in the mind space to actually do it then. So I'm going to do it another day when it is the right time to talk about it. Even this conversation has been in my notes app for like 12 months now. And now I'm sitting down and I'm ready to share it with you because I'm settled in myself and in my value and in my voice of what it is that I want to bring to this platform, what it is that I want to share with the world, how I want to make every single human behavior actually just acceptable, because it is. It's just humanness. We cannot avoid a crash out. That is going to happen no matter what you do in life. If you are a human being and you're experiencing change every single day, and even if you think you're not experiencing change, you are, babe, because every 7 years you have a completely different body with completely different cells. So if your cells are physically changing every single day, then you are also changing every single day. And that can feel very overwhelming at times. That is human. That is the cycle of evolution. That is the cycle of raising your vibration and being a better human. That is actually what we're here on earth to do. We're here to change, we're here to grow, and we're here to learn. And the only way that we can actually rise and rise and rise and rise is when we accept the shit parts and we bring those motherfuckers into the lightness that sits within our soul. I don't know if you guys just saw that, but literally as I said lightness, it has been raining all morning. And as I said lightness just then, the sun shone so brightly outside. That was beautiful. That was definitely a sign from the high one above. You sometimes have to crash out. It is okay. It is acceptable. But if you're going to do it in a way that actually propels you forward and actually allows you to move the needle into where you want to be putting your energy. What is it that you want to focus on? What value do you need more of in your life to stop the crash out from happening? Well, you're never going to stop it from happening, but you get what I mean. Guess that's all. Another episode done and dusted. Nice, quick, short episode for you guys. I love you. As always, I'm just an inbox away, waiting to hear from you. And if you loved this episode, pop down a 5-star review, pretty please, or share it to your story and tag me. That would be great. I think I could cry if someone did that. That would be fan-bloody-tastic, I'm telling ya. But also, if you have any questions from anything within this episode, I am going to start doing a question and answer segment from previous episodes. So if you do have any questions on this episode or on previous episodes, drop them below, send me a message, and I will answer. I will answer that all for you. I love you. Bye-bye.